Last week, I have received a parent messaging me who is really frustrated. Her son memorized 50 big words, like magnificent, spectacular. He put all those words into the essay, but he still got a C. So why this happened? And is it the vocabulary the most important thing in the essay?
So vocabulary is definitely one of the components of an essay that a marker will be looking at, but it's also important to consider quality over quantity, and that rote memorization we would probably not recommend. It's much better to learn patterns and intuition around the context of words. So try instead of rote memorization to use the simplest terms to explain your ideas, therefore you're getting direct detail and you're not muddying your language. I always recommend to not add fluff to your writing.
If the big words is not a magic key, then what exactly the examiner is looking for in the essay?
Our examiners will be looking for clarity and cohesion. That's a general standard up until the BC level. So you want to aim for simple explanations and good structure, which is something that we focus on in our classes for working on persuasive language, narrative, informative, and written comprehension. I would always recommend that in clarity and cohesion, the best strategy you can use is to show, don't tell. Instead of stating an adjective, try instead to imagine the implication of the body language. So you could say that someone was nervous, or you could say that their palms started to sweat and maybe their eyes started to bulge. And that gives much more visceral detail to your language. And instead of showing off your rote memorization of vocabulary, try to fit simpler language to get to direct detail and build that clarity and cohesion.
So here is an essay from a year 5 students. Can you show us one simple trick that turn this boring sentence into a band 6 sentence?
So a simple sentence example that we could use is perhaps, he was hungry.
He's hungry.
He is hungry gives a limited scope of the character building and the characterization, and it also gives a limited scope to the emotiveness and the emotion of the scene. Instead of stating he is hungry, rely more on those analytical implications and intuitions, such as I could hear his tummy rumbling, I could hear his stomach. And here's an example of where you could use something like simile or alliteration or metaphor to say his stomach growled like a cat. And suddenly you've involved not only implication, but simile.
In your class, how do you stop students just showing off those big words, actually teaching them to write?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would always teach structure first. In terms of writing, in any genre or style that you're writing in, time management and structure to the body of your work is important. By preparing techniques in time management, it does well to serve students in exam conditions. Factoring in time for drafting, brainstorming, and editing will make for a stronger, more complete writing piece at the end of your allocated time. I can also speak to some of the ways that we teach the structure of styles and stylistic interpretations, such as when I teach a year 4 class about narrative building, I will always refer to a narrative mountain that visually shows the structure and the spectrum of the way a typical narrative will move, such as having your exposition, your obstacles, and the climax of your story, which ultimately will lead to the resolution.
Okay. Yep. Thank you very much.